And our first question for Javen will be from Travis Hines of the Ames Tribune. Travis, go ahead.
Hey, Javen, I was hoping you could tell us just what's been practice like here since you guys have gotten full go. I know Steve said that the numbers have been down, but what's been your impression of how things have been going?
We've been practicing pretty good here lately. A lot of high intensity, a lot of competition. Trying to get like a lot of 5-on-5 in right now, and just kind of get in shape and get ready to go.
What's it been like for you after the redshirt year to ramping up to actually getting out on the floor?
Man, it's lovely. I'm glad to be able to finally play and just show you guys what I can do.
How do you feel like you can do, Steve was talking about playing small. How do you feel like you can do in that small ball four, in a ball handling role, even if it's maybe not point guard?
Great, because most times the four is going to be, not light on his feet and, a bigger person. And it'll be easier to, attack those bigger fours, especially in our league.
Thanks.
Our next question will be from Matt Bellinson of the Iowa State Daily. Go ahead, Matt.
Hi. Coach talked to us a lot about Jalen Coleman-Lands really standing out in terms of his energy, even when he's not on the floor, as someone that he thinks has brought a lot of energy to the program. I guess just do you feel the same, and kind of what have you seen from him in practice?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Cole, he brings energy every day to practice. Even when he's not practicing, we hear his voice. And I feel like he'll be a great leader for us this year and just, bring a lot of leadership, especially for the young guys on the team.
What have you seen from this freshman class? Coach has really given a lot of praise to all of the freshmen in terms of all of them could have an opportunity to get some minutes here with him experimenting with a lot of guys in different positions. What have you seen from the freshmen so far?
I feel like they've been good for us. They're young, so they're going to make mistakes, but, we're going to live with it and just hope that they, get better throughout the year.
All right, thank you.
Our next question will be from Bill Steele of Cyclone Report. Go ahead, Bill.
Hey, Javen, can you recap your sit-out year a little bit? What in particular was you were able to kind of gain from that whole experience, and how that's going to help you coming into this season?
Coming in from Troy, I was mainly just a scorer, but my sit-out year, Coach Prom kind of put me at the point guard, and it kind of elevated my game to a sense, and it helped me become a more all-around player, coming off ball screens and, making good reads and stuff. It really helped me out a lot. I feel like it'll be good for my career in the long run, the sit-out year.
What about any challenges you're still kind of facing, maybe some adversity you've had to fight through so far this preseason that you've dealt with?
COVID, really. For me, I like getting in the gym a lot, and with COVID, you really can't because like the hours in the gym and stuff are limited. So COVID really has been the most restriction for me, or most adversity, I would say, throughout this preseason.
Thank you.
Our next question will be from Zane Douglas of the Iowa State Daily. Go ahead, Zane.
Hi, Dylan. What do you kind of see as your role, or I guess what has been your role so far in practice and like anticipatory for the season?
Just be an energy guy and create for my teammates and make open shots and stuff. Coach Prom got me running 1 through 4, so I guess my role really isn't this or that, because I'll be like all around the floor. So it's, for me, it's just playing hard and just defending at a high level, and doing whatever coach needs me to do, whatever role he see fit.
How do you feel you kind of fit into that point guard role?
Very good. Like I said, the sit-out year, that's really all I was playing, so I kind of got comfortable with it, and now I'm really comfortable at all positions on the floor. I don't feel like I have too many weaknesses within our offense.
Okay, thank you.
Our next question will be from Elgin Rucker of KCCI. Go ahead, Elgin.
Hey man, piggybacking off of that, you talked about how Coach Brown got you prepared to how he's going to want you to play in this system during that redshirt year. I'm also curious what you observed just watching with this team as far as the Big 12 conference. What are your thoughts on the conference and on the different teams you'll be facing for the first time, and how do you think you match up with these guys and with what you bring to Iowa State?
I feel like it's a big time conference, but that's why I came here. I want to be able to play the best of the best and just really compete at a high level. I feel like we got the talent to win a lot of games in this conference and be at the top of the league.
Thank you.
Our final question for Javen Johnson today will come from Travis Hines with the Ames Tribune. Travis, unmute yourself and go ahead.
David, I'm just curious with, I guess you had a unique perspective on last year having, being a part of everything but not playing. I guess, what are your thoughts on maybe what didn't go right for that team last year and how you guys are in a position to fix it this year?
Last year we wasn't as close off the court and stuff like that, but this year I feel like we got more chemistry and we all tight knit and family oriented. I feel like that's gonna help us on the court as well.
Thanks.
All right, thanks for your time today, Javen.
Yep.
All right, our first question for you today, Rasheer, will be from Elgin Rucker of KCCI. Elgin, unmute yourself and go ahead.
All right, man. I know it's weird you can't see us, but we appreciate you being here, Rasheer.
Thanks for having me.
For sure. Talk about just this upcoming season for you guys, especially for you. Coach Brown talked about you stepping into that leadership role and what that looks like for you, not just assuming the position because Tyrese is gone, but taking on that responsibility, knowing that you have to work harder than everybody else. You have to set that example. You've played and had success, so people are going to be looking at you in that light. Talk about taking that on and what that means to you, not only having the trust from your coach, but also when you go out and you do it, taking on the bumps and the bruises and also the successes of being that lead guy.
It definitely feels good. It definitely feels good to have the trust from your coach, and believing in you and saying things like that. So I definitely appreciate Coach Prom. Our relationship is growing and getting better day by day. As far as the leadership role, really just helping the young guys out, and the new guys too. Just showing them that, I'm not perfect. It's never easy, but you got to fight and be consistent every day. No matter what happens, you have a bad day of practice. You get in the gym next day, you watch film with the coaches, and you continue to learn. So I think that's the biggest thing for me is just staying consistent and showing them I'm not perfect, but I'm always there to fight for them. If they have questions, I'm there for them and, things like that.
Has it been harder to take that step for you and to be that vocal and that also the leader that they can see when it was a period where you guys really weren't together like that? And of course, that's really difficult, and that throws a monkey wrench into any plan that you might have had. How much difficulty was it for you to assume that leadership position in this type of climate that you had to do it in?
It was a little weird, just having to do it over the phone most of the time. But we got guys. Everybody's willing to listen, willing to learn. Nobody's really, jealous or have their own agenda. So we're all focused as one unit. And I kind of just came in and assumed the leadership role. Talking to them, letting them know how things were here. What we plan on doing as a team and how we'll go about it. So guys just kind of listen, and everybody's trying to do their best. So.
Is it also weird with you being a young guy yourself, but having a lot of other young guys coming behind you, and you're still having to be the one to be the leadership? Or do you feel like it's not that hard, especially when you've had a blueprint like a guy like Tyrese, who was a very young guy but was clearly the leader on the team last year? And how was that relationship? How did that help you?
Tyrese helped me a lot. Just seeing everything that he did, we went through, and how he handled the process and everything, it was really helpful to me. It opened my eyes, so I learned a lot from him, and I'm trying to implement that this year on this year's team, but do it in my own way.
Next question will be from Randy Peterson of the Des Moines Register. Go ahead, Randy.
Rasheer, what's Coleman-Lands going to bring to the team? What have you seen from him?
He's a big energy guy, big frame, 2 guard, shoot the ball, plays great defense, and a leader. So, he brings experience to the team. He brings another option on and off the ball. Defensively, he's a he's a pest. He's always up. He's aggressive on defense. So, you know, he really brings a big boost to this team.
What's this team gonna, and maybe you answered this a little bit earlier, but what is this team gonna have to do to, you probably saw where the coaches picked Iowa State. Coaches picked Iowa State 8th. What's this team gonna have to do to prove where the coaches picked Iowa State, to prove that wrong?
You know, we just gotta be ourselves. You know, play defense. That's really the biggest thing is defend. You know, offensively play together, move the ball, and then, you know, not really worry too much about, you know, the media or the coaches pick. Just kind of, you know, focus on us, stay in our circle, stay together as a team, and do what we got to do to win games.
I got one more. What were your thoughts when you saw that Pat Chambers left Penn State?
I didn't have any thoughts. You know, that has nothing to do with me.
Can you talk a little bit about your relationship with him?
What do you mean my relationship with him?
When you were there.
I don't have anything to say about that situation. I put out my statement, and that's all I have to say about it.
I got you. No problem. I got you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Our next question will be from Travis Hines with the Ames Tribune. Go ahead, Travis.
Hey, Rasheer, what do you feel like is gonna be your primary role on this team this season?
I would, like, position-wise or, like, leadership and off the court?
Yeah, either position or just in terms of production, whether it's scoring, whether it's distributing the ball, just sort of like that, I guess.
I would say the point guard. As far as, you know, stats, I don't really look too much into that. You know, I can't really just put a number on everything I can do. But I would say stats and then just leading, you know, and going to win games, however that is. If it's, you know, scoring the ball that game or if it's, you know, getting other guys involved or feeding the hot hand that night, you know, just whatever it takes to win. So I would say that's my role, just lead and win games, however it takes, however I have to do it.
After Tyrese got hurt last year, how do you feel like those point guard reps that you got until you got hurt are going to help you this season, just having that point guard experience last year?
It'll definitely help a lot, you know, just having some experience with it. And then, you know, learning from Reese last year, seeing what he was doing and taking notes from him. But definitely the experience from last year will help going into this year.
Thanks.
Yep.
Our next question will be from Zane Douglas of the Iowa State Daily. Go ahead, Zane.
Hi, you lost Tyrese and then a number of other guys, but it seems like a ton of guys have already kind of come into the fold. Where do you kind of see, just from an offensive perspective, where this team is, shooting-wise and, you know, in other ways?
I would say offensively, we might have we have a different look this year. Instead of Mike at the 4, we have Javen Johnson. So, you know, just having kind of a fourth guard out there. You know, Mike was kind of more of a post player most of his career. So, just having a fourth guard out there to space the floor, the offense kind of flows a little better. You know, you know, another decision maker out there who can come off a ball screen or, you know, space the floor and knock down three-pointers. So, you know, it helps a lot with the flow of the offense.
Do you think you have a lot of depth in the backcourt then?
Yeah, I definitely think we do.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Our next question will be from Randy Peterson of the Des Moines Register. Go ahead, Randy.
What does Solo mean to this team?
He means everything. You know, he's a force down low. He's the anchor, and you know, he's a big part of this team. You know, he's going into his 5th year. You know, he's our post player, he's our guy inside, offense and defense. So he means a lot to us.
Is he one of those guys that you can talk to off the court? You know, just about stuff. Is he a good hangout guy?
Yeah, he's definitely a good hangout guy. Solo's a real cool, laid-back guy.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Our next question will be from Elgin Rucker of KCCI. Go ahead, Elgin.
Yeah, man, a couple times last year where you guys found yourselves in some really tight spots and places offensively you didn't want to be was when you guys weren't knocking down those shots. I know we talked about that a lot last year as well. Of mentally, was it a mental problem or was it a mechanics problem for not just you, but a lot of different guys struggling at that point? How much of that has been an emphasis of of what you guys are trying to work on, I guess, in this shortened period of even being back together? And two, where do you see you guys taking that next step, being able to effectively score the ball from the perimeter?
I would say it was definitely a focus. The point of offense is to make shots and, score the ball. So we were having a tough time last year, but this year, just really, getting in the gym as teammates and as a group, just making sure guys stay out there practice and get shots up or come in before. We got some shot makers this year. Tyler Harris, Trey Jackson's going to be big for us. Jalen Coleman-Lands, of course. Bolton and Johnson. So, we got guys that really space the floor and knock down shots, so it should be big for us this year.
Do you feel like that new look you talked about with Javen coming in at the four, do you think that will have the biggest impact on helping turn that situation around as far as injecting something new into the look and what you guys do?
I don't know if it'll have the biggest impact. It'll definitely be different. So, we'll just see how it goes.
Thank you, man.
Yep.
And those are all the questions we have for you today, Rasheer. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
All right, Jalen, our first question for you will be from Randy Peterson of the Des Moines Register. Go ahead, Randy.
Jalen, what will your role be this year with Iowa State? What do you need to do for the Cyclones to be a solid basketball team?
Well, one of the things I'm looking to bring to the team and that I have brought is leadership, really a presence on a team that is an everyday guy, someone who is leading by example and who's ultimately kind of a role model on the team. So that's kind of what I wanted my role to be, and I feel like I've been doing a solid job of doing that.
What about your shot? Your shot.
Oh, for sure. Making shots, of course, looking at on the court wise, yeah, I'm definitely, that's something I'm trying to do is being able to make shots, play defense, and do that consistently and also show through my work ethic and things like that. But that's definitely something that I want to. That's one of the reasons I'm here. So.
You shot it well at Illinois and didn't shoot it as well at DePaul, and I'm talking about the three-point shot. What was the difference?
I would say, I can answer that. I would say spacing, shot selection. It was a little bit more difficult getting shots off at DePaul other than some of my other schools, and that's something that other schools were able to detect through watching film and things like that. But, not to even blame it on just the system. Sometimes I was putting in the work. I was trying to stay overtime, work, and get the shot right. And, it's just one of those things where you just got to be diligent about and take it day by day. But, spacing, shot selection is something I was trying to analyze myself as well throughout this year and this summer. And that's something I have done, and I feel like it's improved even in practice, and hopefully it'll translate this year.
Thanks, Jalen.
Yes, sir, no problem.
All right, our next question will be from Michael Swain of 247 Sports. Go ahead, Michael.
Hey, Jalen, I wanted to ask you about the organization you started recently. I'm just curious, what was the inspiration for you to start it, and what was the process for you to get that off the ground?
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate you asking about this. This is something that I'm actually really passionate about. Some people's hobbies are, to do activities such as skating, all types of extracurricular things that typical young men do. But for me, this is something that my heart was tugging on, and it's ultimately a platform that I created to improve communication between parental figures and their kids or any additional loved ones. That was from just my personal experience. And, I wanted to find some type of platform or create a platform that, could ultimately help people like myself or, people who from in households that with neglected conversations and, there was room for growth. And I feel like I've done a good job, and I'm looking forward to growing it.
And has anyone in particular helped you get that off the ground? To anybody in your family, any of the coaches? I guess
For
who else
sure.
kind of helped you get that off the ground?
I mean, it's really been a community effort. This is something that kind of requires other people. One of my episodes this week and next week is Game Beyond the Game, where I'm talking about how coaches' influence is much greater than a coach. From the outside, what people view a typical coach. From just the X and O standpoint, and how much of an influence they have on just on student athletes. And I've reached out to various coaches, coaches from Michigan State, coaches from Oregon State, coaches from Dayton. And, like I said, it takes a community effort, but it's all for one goal, and that is to help improve communication between either any type of figures, parental figures, their kids, or any additional level. So, it's all to serve one purpose, and I feel like I've been able to do that thus far, and like I said, I'm looking forward to growing it and touching on different topics.
Thank you, Jalen.
Oh, thank you.
Our next question will be from Bill Seals of Cyclone Report. Go ahead, Bill.
Hey, Jalen, obviously it goes without saying it's been a non-traditional off-season, training camp, et cetera. How have you kind of relied, though, on your veteran your presence, your experience to kind of get through that and put yourself in position to have success this season?
It definitely helps, more so now than ever, being that I have experience, and I kind of know what to expect, and I'm expecting it to be drastically different, but I know the level and the standard that needs to be met. So even from not only hold myself accountable, but others, just kind of like the standard that needs to be required in order for us to do well. So that's something I bring in my work ethic off the court. Even going into the summer where it's limited groups in the gym, being able to bring that energy and push whoever it is that is in your collective group for that week or whatever, and as it progressed, and we were able to kind of gradually have more people in our groups, and then kind of get into team like practices, but just kind of bringing it every day, and using my experience to do that.
Then compare and contrast your time so far at Iowa State with DePaul, Illinois. How is Iowa State maybe the same as far as kind of like the system, offensively, defensively? How's it maybe the same, and how's it maybe different so far with what you've seen?
Obviously, each school is pretty different. Going from Chicago, especially my previous school, going to the city, the third most populated city in America, and then coming to Ames, Iowa. It's a drastic difference. But it's some similarities between here and University of Illinois, environment-wise. But the systems are three completely kind of different systems, coached by different people. So I would really have to break that down, which, it's different coaches, different players. So it's definitely different. But with this, what I can do is, I can talk to you about what I'm doing, what we're doing here, and why one of the reasons why I came here is just the spacing, the defense, the coaching staff. It's a lot of things, but there's some each program is pretty is drastically different and do different things.
Thank you.
No problem.
Our next question comes from Matt Bellinson of the Iowa State Daily. Go ahead, Matt.
Hi, Jalen. In talking with Coach Prohm earlier today, and Rasir and a couple of the other teammates made it a point to show us that you bring a lot of energy to practice. Just as a guy that has been in a lot of different programs and has been in the college basketball ranks for a while, why do you think it's so important to bring energy to a team? And kind of a follow-up to that is, if you do think it's important, what have you tried to do to bring energy to this team? What are some ways that you try and do that?
Well, it starts with preparation, as far as bringing energy, but it's leading by example. being a guy who's in there before practice even starts, being a guy even after practice, you're there to talk to players and if they need help or understanding with, knowing how to do things, but even shooting after practice, it starts before practice. And that's something that plays a major role in leadership, and that's something I've learned throughout the years from not only myself but from older guys before me. And then as far as the energy aspect to it, that's key. At the end of the day, energy is what win games, what creates synergy that allows you to, especially now with kind of the expected population of your the attendance at games is going to be 10%. You got to bring your own energy, and this is something that it's not going to miraculously just show up in game time. It's something that has to be created and practiced throughout practice. So in games when there aren't, when there's 90% less people in an audience, that it's not new to us. So those are the reasons why it's important.
And you kind of touched on, we must be thinking on the same wavelength here, because I was just about to talk to you about Hilton and kind of, did you know anything about the reputation that Hilton gets before you came to Iowa
for
State,
sure,
in
for
terms
sure.
of the atmosphere that it brings, and however you answer that, like you kind of mentioned, how will not having that big fan base in Hilton this year, how much do you think that'll impact you guys, whether it does or not?
I mean, this is new to everyone, so I can't really speak on behalf of, my experience here because I haven't played here yet, and I haven't seen Hilton packed and full as it typically is. But what I can speak on is what we have been doing in practice and in preparation for playing with a limited amount of fans. So, like I said, that was the reason why, creating our own energy. One of the questions you posed to me, why was it important? And that's the reason why it's important. It's because, doing the things doing things that we do in practice every day, it'll be easy, a lot easier for us to carry that over. So that's what's in our control, and that's what we're gonna focus on.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
Our next question will be from Travis Hines of the Ames Tribune. Go ahead, Travis.
Hey, Jalen, we were talking to Steve earlier, and he mentioned something about you wanting an unofficial official visit when you got onto campus because you weren't able to take one during your recruitment. And I was just curious what the recruitment was like for you, given how limited options were, and having been through a couple recruitments already, how big the differences were and how difficult decisions were with, I guess, less information than you probably would have had otherwise.
Yeah, for sure. It was extremely different, especially having going through it, going to DePaul, transferring from University of Illinois after my coach was went somewhere else, and going through it that time and then going through it this time, it was more being able to use my connections through coaches, reaching out to players, and using my experience being around the game to kind of build up a resume and portfolio that I wouldn't have had, that I would have had if I was to go on a visit. Just kind of filling in those spaces and try to answer my own questions through reaching out to other people. So I'm fortunate enough to kind of have experience with that and kind of knowing who to contact, what questions to ask. In comparison to someone such as a high school senior going into their freshman year and not knowing what to ask, and may possibly be in a school that they didn't really they didn't know, like I said, like even being in Hilton, this is my second time being here. Like I've never been here, and these are some common things that are present for new recruits during this phase of this era. So I mean, you got to ask the right questions, what's important to you, and try to fill in the gaps. And I feel like I was able to do that, and I'm happy where I'm at. That's it.
What's been your impression of Rozier and what he can bring for you guys this year?
So Ra was my roommate, even coming here. So I was the first person I met. So we've been hitting it off and pushing each other since the summer. So it's been great. You know, that's like my brother. That's like my little brother. So we push each other on the court. We hang out off the court, and we get to know each other. And that was a benefit with COVID, was being able to really have time to get to know the people you're around. And I feel like that was one person I was kind of cooped up with during this quarantine. And I feel like we've done a good job of that.
Thanks.
No problem.
Time for 2 more questions for Jalen. Our next question will be from Randy Peterson of the Des Moines Register. Go ahead, Randy.
Jalen, what do you remember about about when you played against Iowa State?
Oh, man. I remember, so they were stacked for one. So they had great players. It was great, well coached. The space in the system, it seemed like fluent. It seemed effortless. If you can tell that they had a good feel for each other and the system that they played, in, and the standard was set. It was the crowd. It was packed with Iowa State fans. So the environment was created, but it was really set by them, and that was something that has kind of stayed in my mind since we played them my freshman year. It's just that standard and how each role was kind of, you can tell that they knew each other's role and their style of play. So, and that was something that was reminding to me, and my decision was, this is something this is a role that I wanted to join, and this is a program that I feel like would be a good fit for me.
So, not that you were thinking about it back then, because you were just a kid back then, but
Right.
So was that one of the reasons that you chose Iowa State then?
I mean, in retrospect, that was more like something I'm thinking about in retrospect when I could reflect on, Iowa State. That was my only personal experience at the time, was playing against them my freshman year. Of course, that's something I wasn't thinking about then, but now being in that situation, where, it was a strong likelihood of me going there and looking at my options, that was something that came up to mind, is when we did play them, what was some things that I was able to analyze, and those were a few of the factors that came up to mind.
Great. Thanks, Jalen.
No problem. Thank you.
And our final question for Jalen today will be from Matt Bellinson of the Iowa State Daily. Go ahead, Matt.
Jalen, I've been talking with Coach Prohm earlier today. He mentioned, we were talking about just kind of all that's going on with the election and the social issues that have unfortunately, come up again in America during this off season. And he mentioned that you were one of the leading guys in terms of wanting to do research and get educated on all these topics when they were bringing in, guest speakers to talk to you guys. I guess just kind of, what has this off season been like for you in terms of, educating yourself and kind of understanding, what's taking place in America? What's that been like for you this off season with the team?
It's been really good. We've had a lot of deep conversations, and like I was mentioned before, what I was doing, even what I'm doing with Fingerprint, talking about neglected conversations and topics, like it kind of worked hand in hand, because these are issues, worldly issues, that are often neglected and not talked about, and being able to bring those to light and discuss these topics and things that are prevalent in today's society with your teammates is something that you don't realize, the growth and the camaraderie that you're able to build from talking about things like this on the court, but it does. All of it is interconnected, and it allows you to see things from different perspectives. So it's allowed us to grow tremendously, both on the court and off the court.
All right, that's all we got for you today, Jalen. Thanks for your time.
No problem. Thank you.